Well, because I was trying to calmly leave and not cause a thing. No apologies necessary.
When Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, show us why you're worthy of being here. That was so not okay.
I speak about that woman because she's spoken about me. And when you begin to speak about me privately, I'm going to speak about you publicly.
Oprah might have been the queen of daytime TV, but she's made a lot of enemies out of people. We're talking Taraji P. Henson, Monique, Janet Jackson, and was it really worth it? Rose McGowan called Oprah Winfrey as fake as they come in a scathing Twitter post over Oprah's friendship with Harvey W. So she took to Twitter to speak out against the popular talk show host, sharing a photo of Oprah kissing the disgraced Hollywood producer on the cheek. Now, the photo of the pair was taken at the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, so about 10 years ago. Rose McGowan is a very outspoken activist, and she accused Harvey of wrongdoing, and she accompanied that photo with the caption reading, "I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't." From being pals with Harvey to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons' victims, she's about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. Hashtag a lizard. Now, Simmons, who was a hip-hop music mogul, was accused of more than a dozen cases of misconduct since November of 2017, and he responded by admitting inappropriate conduct in some instances, but did dispute the allegations of non-consensual interactions. Nevertheless, still not somebody you want to be friends with, and as you're about to learn with Oprah, it's gonna happen a lot. Not a lot of people usually quote-unquote feud with Oprah, at least not publicly, which is why it was kind of jarring to see Taraji P. Henson speak out about the disrespect she faced on the set of The Color Purple, a film where Oprah was an executive producer.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost.
Taraji's comments sparked immediate rumblings of a feud between the two women, as well as a necessary conversation about the way black women in Hollywood are constantly disrespected and underpaid. While Oprah has claimed that there is no hatred between the women, there is certainly some kind of messiness. So back in December, Taraji told The Hollywood Reporter that she was fed up with the industry. She said she was sick of being underpaid, and she had been fighting tooth and nail every project to get that same frickin' quote. Later that month, Gayle King asked her about, the comments about retiring from acting, and the star got teary, saying, "I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sister say the same thing over and over. It seems like every time I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did." Now, after these comments went viral, Taraji sat down with the New York Times for a more in-depth interview. And in that interview, she spoke out about racism in Hollywood, pay inequality, and the unfair working conditions on sets like The Color Purple and Empire. That's where she revealed that she hasn't had a raise in her pay since 2018, when she worked on the action film Proud Mary, and it almost led her to walk away from The Color Purple. She said they don't care, they're always looking for a deal and trying to pay you the least amount. She talked about the cast being given rental cars and being asked to drive themselves to set in Atlanta, and when she asked for a driver, for safety reasons, she was told, "Well, if we do it for you, we gotta do it for everybody." And to that, she said, "Well then do it for everybody." She also spoke out about her time on Empire, during which she said she was fighting for trailers that weren't infested with bugs, and that should be basic human rights, folks.
See, when I speak about Oprah Winfrey, you've been unjust, and you watched a black woman be thrown under the bus, and you said nothing.
Back in March of 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in Precious. And after that, she claimed she was blackballed in the entertainment industry, and has been for over a decade at the hands of media moguls such as Oprah Winfrey. So Oprah was the person who had an interview with one of Monique's family members just days after her big career accomplishment. Oprah sat down with the comedian's older brother, Gerald, who sadly was the person who harmed Monique growing up. It was reportedly the first time he had admitted his crimes, and he confessed to being a victim of the same actions by other family members. And a lot of folks online didn't take too well to this, saying Oprah needed to answer for this because interviewing Monique's brother after his historic Oscar win doesn't make sense. And it looked bad for Oprah. Other folks started to notice that Oprah definitely seemed to have like a mean, cold side around that, wondering why she was so mean to Monique. Monique said that Oprah crossed her on many different levels by doing that interview. Monique reached out to the mogul, but her efforts to communicate didn't really happen. So 3 years after that interview, she confronted Oprah at a celebration party for Lupita Nyong'o when she got the Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. So she said, and I quote, "Oprah was sitting on my right, and then I turned to her and said, 'Now I need to talk to you.' And she said, 'You could hear a pin drop. Since you didn't want to return my calls for whatever reason, I'm going to say this right here.' And she asked point blank why Oprah invited her parents on the show, even though she wasn't really talking with her parents at the time. And Oprah claimed to have no idea that the entire family was showing up. Oprah, supposedly stating, and I quote, "Oh, I didn't know anything about that." Okay, Oprah. Sure. And she added on, "If I had done anything to offend you, I apologize." You're telling me that the mogul who built her entire empire at the expense of exploiting people didn't know that she was doing this? Sure. Janet Jackson's beef with Oprah is pretty personal when you compare it to some of the other folks we'll talk about today. So while Janet herself was okay with doing interviews with Oprah, she was kind of horrified when her brother's offspring were called on the show. She saw this as Oprah using Michael's family as a means to boost her ratings. And there are sources that reported that there was an intense conversation between Janet and Oprah. And this caused a lasting feud between the two billionaires because Janet was horrified that Oprah was exploiting Michael's family just for views. During an appearance on the Jamie Kern Lima podcast earlier this year, Oprah talked about being body shamed by Joan Rivers. Now, to be fair, Joan Rivers wasn't exactly known for being cuddly. She was known for being controversial, but I digress. So this particular moment happened during Oprah's first appearance on The Tonight Show back in 1985. She had been invited on to discuss the huge popularity of her show AM Chicago, which was kind of, beating then ratings juggernaut Phil Donahue. The star said, however, that it wasn't long before the topic of discussion turned to her body. She said, and I quote, "Joan Rivers turns to me and then she says, 'Tell me why you're so fat.'" And it's like, okay, yeah, that's a bit of a controversial statement, but back in the day, wasn't unheard of. And Oprah was like, "This was on national television, and I didn't know what to do with that. So I just did like, oh, I love potato chips, Joan." And she went on to recall that Joan had replied, "Shame on you." And at the time, Oprah said like she agreed with Joan. And Joan was like, "I'll let you come back if you lose 15 pounds. You need to lose 15 pounds. And Oprah was like, "I just couldn't believe that she said that to me on national television." She accepted it though. She said, "I accept that I should be shamed because how dare me be sitting up here on The Tonight Show." So she and Joan agreed that Oprah was gonna go away and lose 15 pounds. And of course, Oprah was like, "I didn't lose the 15 pounds. I went and ate my way to another 10 pounds. Oprah explained that she went to a health retreat in order to lose the weight, explaining that at the time, retreats were just called fat farms. But while she was at that retreat, she received a phone call from Color Purple director Steven Spielberg, who warned her against losing the weight. He said, "I hear you're at a fat camp. You lose a pound, you could lose this part." So Oprah said she finally let go of the part when she got the call. She said, "The instant I let it go was the greatest life lesson I've ever received because I physically felt the release." And well, as we all know, Oprah did end up landing the role of Sophia in Spielberg's film, which earned her an Academy Award nomination. Oprah came under fire back in 2021 for an interview that resurfaced from 2004, where she asked Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen what clothing size they were. So at the time of the interview, rumors had been circulating that Mary-Kate was suffering from an eating disorder. And later that year, the actress turned fashion designer did spend time in a facility to receive treatment for a health-related issue. But Oprah said, and I quote, "I know in a rumor that's recently surfaced that's really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating." And then Ashley was quick to speak up to defend her sister, saying, "Yeah, people are gonna write what they're gonna write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just comes with the territory. Either you're too fat, too skinny, and people are just gonna write what they..." And then Oprah interrupted, being like, "Well, what size are you, by the way?" And you could see Mary-Kate and Ashley both looking very uncomfortable. And Ashley tried to play it off, being like, "Oh, size? Like, oh, we're just both petite." And Oprah wasn't letting it go. She was like, "Oh, that's so interesting." And the audience was laughing. Like, "I'm obsessed with my size," and you're like, "I don't really know." And the girls piped up being like, "Well, like if we were obsessed with our size, it'd be like, I guess, I don't know, a different story." Poor things. And that's all for today, folks. See you next time.